Hi everyone, I'm Erin Bingham. I'm a nurse practitioner and a yoga instructor. And today I'm going to walk you through about a 30-minute chair yoga class. And I'm going to step back to my chair and just tell you what we need to get started. So all you will need is a chair, preferably one without arms so that you can move a little bit better. The class today will begin with a brief meditation and then some breath work. We'll transition into some gentle stretching and movement, and then we'll end with deep relaxation. So next to me, I also have a pillow and a towel. So if you'd like to set yourself up next to your bed or a couch or a comfortable recliner, somewhere where you can really relax at the end of the class. You could also set yourself up on the floor. That's the reason that I have my yoga mat today. The other thing that I'd like to say before we get started is that everything that I am doing today, everything I'm inviting you to do today is just that, an invitation. And so you get to listen to your body, and I want to empower you to make decisions about how you're moving your body. So you may choose not to move your body in the way that I'm inviting you to, and that's completely up to you. The other thing I'd like to say is that you can be a little bit sore and safe at the same time. So hurting yourself does not necessarily mean that you're harming yourself. But again, you get to listen to your body and you get to decide if you're having some discomfort, whether you want to move through that today or whether you prefer to back off. So with that, we will begin. So I invite you to find a place on your chair where you can feel your feet beneath you and they're steady, sturdy. Maybe swaying back and forth for a moment on your chair in order to establish a sturdy seat as well. And then I invite you to lift and lengthen through the spine as you sit there. So thinking about alignment, trying to bring the ankles beneath the knees in line with the hip points, and then the shoulders in line with the hips. And on your chair, if you'd like to have a pillow behind you in order to support your back while we meditate, you could choose to do that as well. So as you drop into yourself, you may choose to do this with eyes open. You could also close your eyes, whichever feels more available to you. But I invite you to settle in, settle down, and listen closely. Beginning with the physical body. Notice the physical body without judgment or criticism. Simply scan your body from your ankles through your legs, your hips, your torso, your arms and your hands. Notice your shoulders and your neck, your head and your face. Paying attention to the sensations that you are noticing right now. And then I invite you to pay attention to your mental body. So check in with where you are mentally right now without judging yourself for that, and knowing that you are exactly where you need to be right now. And then as you let that go, I invite you to check in with your emotional body as well. Again, honoring wherever you are right now as you come to your practice. And not criticizing or judging yourself, but simply being curious about where you are. Perhaps taking a few breaths to absorb that self-check-in. And as you let that go, I invite you to begin paying attention to your breath. Now, for some people, paying attention to the breath is not available or doesn't feel comfortable. And if that is you, that's okay. You can simply sit there and listen for the next part. But if you are able to access the breath, I invite you to begin where you are now. Notice how you're breathing. Are you breathing through your nose or through your mouth? Are you breathing into your belly? Or are you breathing up into your chest? How much of your lung capacity are you using? Are you breathing deeply or shallowly? Notice where you are now. And again, if you would like to, you could now begin to expand your breath. Breathing deeply into the lungs, maybe pressing out the belly as you use the diaphragm to send the lungs down. Perhaps filling up the base of your lungs and then the middle of your lungs and then the upper part of your lungs as well. And then releasing on the exhale completely. Coming back to the inhale and sending the breath as deeply as you can into the lungs. I invite you to expand forward, sideways, and backwards into the bottom, middle, and upper portion of your lungs. Using the full capacity of your lungs here, if that feels available to you. If not, again, please just let this go and come back to noticing your body or simply noticing your breath. As you continue to expand your breath, if you are doing so, you could begin to imagine a light that is growing inside the lungs as you inhale, and then slowly dimming as you exhale. Perhaps for you, a balloon works better. Whichever image resonates with you, maybe choose one and use that image to help yourself expand your lungs further, slowly inhaling and slowly and completely exhaling. Each time there's a thought that distracts you away from your breath, notice that thought, honor that thought, and then let that thought go. And then gently and compassionately bring yourself back to your breath or to your body, whichever one you are paying attention to right now. And as we continue to pay attention to the breath, the thoughts will continue to come, and that's okay. The point of meditating is not to end the thoughts, it is to notice them and then bring your attention back to a central focus, such as your breath or your body. So we'll continue to follow our breath for a little bit longer, letting go of any distracting thoughts And gently bringing ourselves back to noticing the breath, expanding completely into the lungs, noticing the sensation of the air coming through the nostrils or the mouth, noticing the light growing as you inhale and dimming as you exhale, letting go of thoughts. And as you are ready, I invite you to allow the chin to fall down toward the ground, stretching the back of your neck. We'll continue throughout the practice these deep inhales and slow exhales as we stretch the body. Letting the head fall down toward the ground. You could choose to allow the head to fall to the right and the left, stretching the sides of the back of the neck. Maybe inhaling the head in one direction and exhaling the head in the other direction. Notice what's happening in the shoulders and in the upper back as you do this. And see if you can let go of any tension that may be created there. The next time that your head comes over to the left, I invite you to allow the head to remain there. With the right arm, you could even take hold of the chair to make the stretch a little bit deeper. Again, sending the left ear toward the left shoulder. Opening through the whole right side of the neck here. You could choose to look down and then back to the front and up. And just moving your head in this diagonal line to stretch the side of the neck. If you don't want to hold on to the chair, that's okay. You can just let that right arm relax. Maybe finding some movement forward and backward for the head as you stretch the right side of the neck. And letting the head roll all the way over to the right now. So letting the right ear fall toward the right shoulder. Again, you could take the left hand and hold on to the chair in order to deepen the stretch on the left side of the neck. Deep inhales and slow, complete exhales here. Stretching and opening the whole left side of the neck. Again, here, if you'd like to, you can move your head in a diagonal. So moving the chin down toward the right shoulder and then up away from the right shoulder, looking over to the left. We're just moving the head in different directions while we stretch the left side of the neck in order to stretch all of the muscles in the left side of the neck. Again, you could let go of the chair, maybe finding some movement forward and backward with the head, and letting the upper back, the shoulders, the whole neck relax. Allow the head to feel heavy. And when you're ready, bringing the head back up to a neutral position, I invite you to find some movement for the shoulders now. Maybe going backwards, circling backwards with the shoulders. Perhaps linking the breath with the movement. You could inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. And then reverse the direction of those circles. Again, perhaps continuing to follow the breath with the movement. So inhaling the shoulders up and forward, and then exhaling the shoulders down and back. And releasing the shoulders. Now I invite you to bring the shoulders up toward the ears, to tense the shoulders. And then with a deep sigh, relaxing and releasing the shoulders. Inhaling up to bring the shoulders up toward the ears and tense the neck and the shoulders. And then exhaling with a sigh to release the shoulders. A few more of those. Moving into the arms, we could transition the arms forward and backward. So again, finding your range of movement today, just bringing some blood flow to the shoulders. You could choose to bring the arms all the way up overhead. You could choose to bring the arms behind you as well. Maybe inhaling the arms up overhead, exhaling the arms behind you. So you get to decide if maybe the arms are only moving a couple inches or whether the arms are fully flexing and extending, so moving in their entire range of motion. Completely up to you. Maybe transitioning this out to the sides now. Again, maybe only up to shoulder height and perhaps all the way up overhead. So you get to decide, but finding some movement in a different direction for your shoulders, just bringing blood flow to the shoulders. If you'd like to, you can stretch your arms out, pausing here. So stretching both of the fingers away from one another and then allowing the head to fall from side to side. This allows for a little bit different stretch in the shoulders and in the arms and in the neck. So maybe exhaling to one side, inhaling up, exhale to the other, inhaling up. Releasing the shoulders whenever you're ready, perhaps shaking the arms out a little bit. And bringing some attention to the hands. Maybe just finding some movement with the hands, making circles with the wrists in one direction, making circles with the wrists in the opposite direction. Another thing I like to do is clasp my hands together and then let one hand roll over the other. To find a stretch in those hands. We're reversing that direction to go backwards. And then maybe sending the fingers down with the other hand, pulling those fingers back toward you to find a stretch in the forearm. So maybe taking a few deep breaths into that stretch. And then we'll flip to sending the fingers downward, and then the palm to palm, stretching those fingers down toward the ground to stretch the opposite side of the forearm. Taking a few deep breaths here to stretch the forearm. Again, maybe shaking that out. And stretching the other hand, so bringing the fingers down toward the ground with the back side of the hand forward, and then palm to back side of opposite hand, stretching those fingers down toward the ground to stretch the forearm. Deeply breathing. Maybe closing your eyes. You could envision those muscles opening and lengthening as you breathe. Go ahead and flip that hand over when you're ready, bringing the palm side forward, and then palm to palm. Stretch those fingers down toward the ground if you'd like to. Just stretch the opposite side of the forearm. So just getting a full body stretch today in this chair yoga class. Maybe doing some circles with the hands, maybe shaking the arms out a little bit to release that. And we'll transition the movement into the back and the spine, beginning with I'm going to remove this pillow from behind me because I'm going to be moving my back now. But as we transition to moving the back, we'll if you'd like to, you can send the crown of your head forward and the tailbone forward, and then the middle of your back toward the back of the room. So you're rounding your back. And then as you inhale, you can send the crown of the head and the tailbone backwards, and the middle of the back toward the front of the room to arch the back. Again, you get to decide based on your body and what is happening for you right now, how deep, how exaggerated you want these to be, or how subtle you'd like this to be. But we'll just continue to go back and forth, moving the whole spine if you want to. And for you, if the hips don't want to move that much, you can get a lot from just moving them a couple centimeters or a centimeter. And if the hips don't want to move at all, due to a surgery that you have maybe had, you can isolate this into the neck and the shoulders, just doing the upper back. Completely up to you, how you choose to move your body. And you may choose to stop before I am finished, for whatever reason, at any time. So adding to this movement, you may want to bring your arms up as you arch and down as you round. So just bringing more of the body into these two movements. Maybe bringing the arms up as you arch and down as you round. And then coming back to a neutral position whenever you're ready. If you'd like to, we'll find some movement laterally, going side to side now. So as you begin this lateral movement, I invite you to lift and lengthen through the whole spine, and then stretch over to the side. So we're just moving side to side with the spine. Again, you're deciding how exaggerated or subtle you want these movements to be. You could bring the arm into this movement. And if you bring the arm into the movement, I like to grab hold of the chair beneath me with the opposite arm just to have some stability. So stretching side to side. Maybe inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the side. You could choose to continue this movement if that feels right to you. You may also choose to remain in a stretch. So maybe you'd like a deeper stretch on the left side body. If you do, maybe taking hold of the chair and then stretching those left fingers away from the left hip point. Deep inhales into the whole left side body. Maybe looking down. Notice what's happening in the rest of the body. How are your legs? How are your shoulders? Lifting back up to neutral when you're ready. And maybe stretching over to the other side. Again, taking note, are your knees falling out to the sides? Could you bring your knees back together into alignment so that the knees are over the ankles? Inhale into the whole side body. You can also stretch here and remain in the stretch without the arm. So you don't have to use the arm here for this side body stretch. But breathing into the whole side body. Inhaling to expand the rib cage. And exhaling slowly and completely. Coming back up to neutral when you are ready. After doing a stretch in one position, I like to just kind of move my body a little bit to release that stretch. So however your body is asking you to move, just take a moment to listen to your body and do a little bit of a wiggle, and then find yourself back in a neutral position. And I'll invite you to do some twisting. If you know that twisting does not work for your body, you can just listen, take some deep breaths. But if you'd like to, you can begin by just looking side to side, twisting the neck. And if that feels okay, perhaps bringing the twist into the shoulders. So twisting the head and the shoulders back and forth. And you could choose to use your hands here. So pressing on the outside of your leg if you want a deeper stretch. Again, continuing to go side to side. And then, if you would like to remain in this stretch, you can bring your right hand to the outside of your left leg, and maybe the left hand takes hold of the back of the chair. If you remain in the stretch, I invite you to lengthen through the whole spine, and then come into the twist. Breathing into the back body. Maybe as you inhale, you untwist a little bit. And maybe as you exhale, you twist a little bit deeper. Up to you. Releasing when you're ready, and doing the other side if you'd like to. So perhaps bringing the left hand to the outside of the right leg, and the right hand to the back of the chair. Twisting toward the right. Lift and lengthen through the whole spine. Maybe inhaling to release the stretch a little bit, and then exhaling to deepen the stretch a bit. So allowing the stretch to be as subtle or as deep as you'd like it to be. And then coming back to center when you are ready. We'll transition movement to the legs. So just begin by gently moving the legs open and closed to get some movement in the hips. And then maybe walking in place. So perhaps just touching the toe on the ground and lifting the leg. You could also lift the foot off the ground. So using the core muscles a little bit in order to lift those legs off of the ground. Completely up to you whether you toe touch or whether you lift the leg off the ground. If you are lifting the leg off the ground, you could also lift the leg up and bring it to the side. So just getting a little bit more range of motion in the hips, moving the leg side to side. Continuing to pay attention to the breath, maybe inhaling and then exhaling, inhaling to the side, exhaling to the front. Inhaling to the side, and then exhaling to the front. So we'll find a stretch in the legs now. Sending one of your legs forward, maybe the right leg forward to begin with. I invite you to flex the toes back toward the body, so pulling those toes back toward the body. And then You want to keep a gentle bend in the knee and lift and lengthen through the spine as you stretch the hamstring. And for some people, just straightening that leg will create a stretch in the hamstring. And so you may stay right there. And if you would like a little bit deeper stretch, you can send the whole chest forward, being careful not to put your hand on your knee, but supporting yourself with your hand right behind your knees as you send the chest forward. Another thing to consider here is alignment. You want to make sure that those toes and the knee are not falling out to the side, but that they're pointing up toward the ceiling so that you're stretching in a way in which the muscles are aligned. Deep inhales and slow exhales. I know for some people, placing their hand on the spot where they're feeling sensation in the back of the leg can be helpful. So if you'd like to do that in order to focus your attention on that spot where you are having sensation, you can do that. Maybe closing down the eyes. Deep inhales and slow exhales. Pressing into the opposite leg for stability. And coming back up to neutral when you're ready. So when you do stretch, it's important to stretch the body. Maybe just letting the knees fall side to side to release that. It's important to hold your stretches for about 20 seconds in order for the muscles to actually be able to have the time to lengthen. We'll transition to the other side. So sending the left foot forward, keeping that gentle bend in the knee, and then making sure that the toes and the knee are pointed up toward the ceiling. Lift and lengthen through the whole spine. You may remain there if that feels like a stretch to you. And then if you'd like a deeper stretch, you can send the chest forward. Another thing to keep in mind as you're stretching is the importance of stretching just in your middle range of motion. Oftentimes we are tempted to push ourselves to an extreme, and stretching to your extreme can actually cause more injury. And so really staying right in the middle range of motion is much safer and a much more effective way of stretching. So here again, stretching the left hamstring, maybe placing the hand on the spot where you're feeling sensation. Breathing deeply into that sensation, letting go of any distracting thoughts. Deep inhales, slow exhales. Could come down to your elbow. Deep inhales, slow exhales. If you do have a lot of flexibility, you could also maybe put some books on the ground and place your hands on the ground to support, well, on the books that are on the ground to support you. It's another good home item to have around for a yoga class, just some books. So a couple more deep breaths into that left hamstring stretch. And then coming back to neutral. When you're ready, letting those knees rock back and forth. You know, I say that it's important to stretch for 20 seconds, and yet the more important thing is to listen to your body. And so if your body is asking you to stop stretching, please listen to that regardless of how long you've been stretching. We will move into the feet as well, coming back to the legs in a moment. Just want to pay some attention to the feet, so making circles with those toes, with those ankles. You could leave the foot on the ground here as well. And then reversing the direction. Maybe opening the toes and then making fists with the feet. Opening the toes and making fists with the feet. And then switching to the other foot, just making some circles, opening up the ankles, the toes, the soles of the feet. Opening the toes and making fists with the feet. Opening and making fists with the feet. So another stretch we'll do is for the outside of the leg. A couple different ways to do this. You could cross one leg over the other and then turn toward that leg to stretch the outside of the leg. And if you don't find a stretch in doing that, the other thing you can do is bring the calf or the ankle to the back, to the area just behind the knee. Another reason to have a towel around is that it can be helpful in pulling the foot up. So if you have a strap or a towel or a tie, something to wrap around your leg, that can be really helpful in moving body parts. So either bringing the calf or the ankle to the area behind the knee. Few different ways to find opening here. You could take your right hand and press behind the right knee in order to find opening. You want to make sure you're not pressing right on the joint. Again, that puts too much pressure on the joint. Another way you can do this, for some people, they prefer this, is to take hold of the leg and lift it up in order to find a stretch. And you can just kind of move your leg around and find a stretch in the outside of the leg, and the buttocks, the hip. Another way to do this, and I'm giving you lots of options just to see what feels right in your body, is to lift and lengthen. So lowering that leg back onto the right leg back onto the left leg behind the knee, and then sending the chest forward once you've lengthened through the spine in order to find, again, opening through the outside of the right leg, the hip, and the buttocks. So any of those options, crossing one leg over and twisting, crossing the calf or the ankle and pressing behind the knee, lifting the leg up in order to find a stretch where you would like to stretch, or lowering that leg back down, lengthening through the chest, and then sending that chest forward. I prefer this one, so I'll remain here. And then here you could move in and out of the stretch for a moment, just warming up the tissue. And then eventually, if you'd like to, you could remain in the stretch wherever it is that you are, whichever version you have chosen for your body. I invite you to remain in the stretch, taking some deep inhales and slow exhales. Maybe sending your breath visually into that space where you're feeling sensation. You could invite those muscles to lengthen, to relax, to open, to let go. Coming back to neutral when you're ready. Letting that leg fall down, and again, just letting those knees fall side to side to release. We'll do the same thing on the left leg. So figuring out what works best for you on this leg as well. The left side may be different than the right, so I encourage you to try them out. Maybe crossing the leg over, maybe bringing the calf or the ankle to the area behind the knee, going ahead and picking your leg up to find a good stretch, or placing that leg back down on the opposite leg, lifting and lengthening through the chest, and then sending the chest forward. So whichever one you would like to do, I invite you to find that stretch for your left leg, and then remain in that stretch if you'd like to, Invite those muscles where you're feeling sensation to lengthen and open, to relax and let go. Deep inhales and slow exhales. Let go of any distracting thoughts and gently bring your attention back to noticing your body and breathing deeply. Coming back up to neutral when you're ready. Then uncrossing the legs, letting those knees fall side to side. We'll try one more stretch for the legs. So with this, there are a couple different ways you can do it. I'll show you both ways. We'll start with the right side. So maybe transitioning or scooting yourself over toward the right. Then I invite you to take a hold of the chair with the left hand and then let the right foot fall backwards. So the intention is to find a stretch in the hamstring. In the quadricep, the front of the right thigh. So that's one way to do this stretch. The other way to do this stretch is to actually turn your body. So turning the left foot out to the side and then turning your torso toward that right leg. Take hold of the back of the chair with your left hand and then letting the right leg fall toward the ground and then slowly bringing that right leg backwards. So for the foot, you can remain on your toes if that feels right for you. You can also tuck those toes under. But really the idea is to try to find some opening in the hip and in the quadricep, the front of the thigh and the front of the hip. So whichever feels right to you, I invite you to remain there. Press into the front leg, into the right leg, finding steadiness and sturdiness from the right leg. And then slightly opening, again, staying in that middle range of motion for you, opening the right quadricep, the right hip. Deep inhales and slow exhales. Let go of distracting thoughts. Lengthen through the spine. You can engage the core, bringing the belly button toward the spine to also find more sturdiness, more stability through the whole body. You can also lift the right arm up toward the ceiling here if you'd like to. Whenever you're ready, bringing that right leg forward, no matter if you had turned or if you had just dropped the right leg backwards, bring that right leg forward. Again, I invite you to just let those legs fall side to side for a moment. Again, we'll transition to the left side. So scooting over to the left side if you like that first version of that form. Taking hold of the chair with the right hand and then letting the left knee bend down toward the ground and letting the toes come backwards. So you may need to kind of shift your weight on the chair to accommodate yourself in this. The other way to do this is to turn that right leg sideways, turn the torso sideways, take hold of the back of the chair with the right leg or the right hand, and then let the knee fall down, the left knee fall down toward the ground. The left toes slowly scoot themselves backwards as far as they want to go. So you don't, the goal is not to get as far as you can go. The goal is really just to find sensation and opening in the right or the left hip now. So finding that place for your body, where you are in your middle range of motion and can feel a little bit of sensation and opening in the left hip and the left quadricep. And then from there, pressing into the right foot for stability, lengthening through the spine for good alignment, maybe bringing the belly button toward the spine for extra stability, and then perhaps lifting through the left arm to deepen the stretch. You could leave the arm at the side as well. Deep inhales, slow exhales. Releasing when you're ready. Again, letting the knees fall side to side. And then from here, I invite you to do anything else that your body is calling you to do. If there's a stretch that you know you really like to do, that you would like to do for yourself right now, I invite you to do that. And otherwise, we will begin to transition into deep relaxation. So find that place to accommodate your body, whether it's on your couch or in a chair, on a recliner or your bed, or finding a spot on the floor. For myself, I'm gonna set myself up on the floor here. And so to do that, I'm gonna roll a blanket, just a hand towel, for my neck, to support my neck. Because when you support your neck, you wanna try not to send the whole head forward. You wanna really just support the back, that natural curve in your spine. So coming down or over to your place of deep relaxation, I'm also going to place a pillow underneath my knees, just because that feels supportive. So putting that in underneath my knees for deep relaxation. Now slowly come onto my back, supporting myself with my elbows. And then bringing that neck support under my neck. From here, I invite you to begin relaxing your whole body. Letting go through your feet. Relaxing your big toes. Your second toes. Your third toes. Your fourth toes. Your fifth toes. Releasing your ankles. Relaxing your shins and your calves. Relax through your knees, your thighs. Let go in your hips and your abdomen, your low back, your whole torso. Relaxing the whole body now. Relax your neck and your shoulders, your arms, your elbows, your wrists. Relax your hands, the palms of your hands, the back sides of your hands, your thumbs, your first fingers, your second fingers, your third fingers, and your fourth fingers, your fifth fingers. Relax your whole neck, your jaw. Relax your teeth and your tongue. Relax your cheeks. Relax your eyes. Relax your forehead, your whole face. Relax through your whole body, releasing any tension. You could scan your body and notice if there's anywhere that feels like it might be hanging on. And invite that area to relax deeper. You have nowhere to go and nothing to do. Relax completely. I'm going to stop talking for the next minute and allow you to be in deep relaxation. Slowly begin to bring your attention back to your breath. I invite you to wake up your body however you need to. Before moving too much, just take a moment here to thank yourself for taking the time to do something good for yourself. And then I also want to invite you to think of something positive, a positive intention for the rest of your day that you can take with you as you leave the class today. And when you're ready, if you're on your back, you can slowly transition to your side to make it easier for you to get up. And then gently and slowly press yourself back to a sitting position. And to close today's class, I invite you to close down your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And again, do that self check-in. Notice your physical body. Notice your mental body. Notice your emotional body. Honor where you are now, observing whether there have been any shifts at all from the beginning to the end of the class. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Take care.